Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm working on the LS Grand Prix once again, and I have been waiting on the transmission swap parts for quite some time. So I'm still waiting on the starter, but now I have the flex plate and I should be able to get the 800 horsepower capable transmission into the car. So the issue with these cars, they came with an LS4, they made plenty of power, but the transmissions were 4T65 and they were very weak. If you put a cam in the car, turned up the power with a tune, it usually blew the transmission up. So you can put a 4T80, they'll hold around 700 to 800 horsepower, and that is what I'm gonna do. So I'm still waiting on the starter, but I can get the engine, the transmission, everything bolted together back in the car, and that's what I plan on doing today. So let's get to work. I need to pull the transmission out of a Cadillac DeVille. I'm using a newer transmission because the shift solenoids are inside the transmission, or the shift lever actuator is inside the transmission instead of externally. It's a lot easier to wire up. I now have the transmission out of the DeVille, and I'm very happy that I finally have this transmission because this was the final large piece to finish the Grand Prix project. Well, temporarily finished. There's a few stages the Grand Prix is going to go through. We'll talk about that in later episodes, but I want to get it running and driving NA, and then we'll worry about other things later on. This transmission they supposedly support up to 800 horsepower with no issues. Even if you had to build this transmission to support 800 horsepower, it's really nice because the 4T65s that come in the Grand Prix are very, very weak, and that is their downfall. So the 4T65 in the supercharged V6 or the LS4, which mine is V8, they just blow up. You turn the LS4s up and they just start to slip and start to cause a bunch of issues. So this is double the size, and it's, you know, there's a few things that have to be modified, ground down. But what I want to do first is get everything cleaned up because it is really, really grimy. And it's grimy because the North Star that was in the DeVille had the normal DeVille North Star issues, blown head gaskets, leaking oil from the valve covers, and it just gets the tranny really grimy. So I'm going to use my trick, which is oven cleaner. Non-generic oven cleaner cleans this stuff great, especially oxidation and some other things. If you're new to the channel, you don't know it, you will know it in a second, but people that have been watching the channel have seen how well oven cleaner cleans. And another thing, after I oven clean it, there's a few things, like I said, have to modify. I have to grind some stuff, or you know, clearance some stuff, I guess we'll say, on the transmission and on the block. I've already modified the flex plate. So on the 4T65, they have a 3-bolt pattern. On these, they have a 4-bolt. So you just have to re-drill your flex plate, which isn't that big of a deal. And there's some things up here that you have to modify as well. And then there's different mounts, etc. So I have solid mounts for the swap, and it will just really locate the engine and transmission in there very nice. I won't have to worry about it shifting or anything like that. And then back here for the wiring, there is a few wires that you have to swap. I cut the harness back behind this plug, and then I also cut it back behind that ground. So then you have this plug as well. But let's get to cleaning this transmission up, make her look brand new so we can start clearancing everything. And when we put it together with the clean engine, she'll look great. The DeVille transmission is now nice and clean, and I'm very happy that she's clean because it's just night and day. I mean, I really don't like installing stuff grimy into cars or projects. It just makes all the difference cleaning it up, and oven cleaner works very well. So the one thing with oven cleaner, if you leave it on too long, it starts to discolor the aluminum a little bit. But if you hit it with a brush, which I really wasn't too worried about, it shines it back up because it takes that oxidation off. And it's, you know, night and day difference between what it looked like before all the grease and stuff and the head gasket. You know, you can see the axle where the head gasket was leaking all over the transmission looked like that as well. But now that these transmissions are next to each other, this is the 4T80E, that's the 4T65E, and here's my hand. Look at that. You can see how much larger this transmission. So this is pretty much a front wheel drive version of the rear wheel drive 4T80s. And these things, just like the rear wheel drive versions, they hold the power. So a lot of LS guys use 4T80s and they make 800 plus horsepower on them for drag cars. And I plan on making a lot of power. And these, I guess if you were gonna go 800 horsepower, you might as well build it. But they are a very durable transmission, and they're a lot bigger. And the reason they're so durable is because everything is larger than the 4T65s, and you could just tell the torque converter is bigger, the case is bigger, the clutch packs are bigger, everything is just bigger and larger. So I will have to use different axles, but that will be in the next video. I also will have to modify the transmission on this inside piece and the engine block on the inside piece so they go together nicely. And I have an adapter kit to make everything work, but I'm not sure if I'll have to modify the exhaust. I have a catless downpipe as well up there, and we'll just get everything assembled in the next video and get it ready to wire up, get it ready to tune. I should be able to make around 4 something NA, and then once I turbo it, it'll probably be in the upper 600, 700s, which will be really nice. I do plan on making this Grand Prix all-wheel drive, so it will be, I'm not sure if it'll be the first all-wheel drive Grand Prix, but it'll be the first all-wheel drive Grand Prix like this. So we should be able to push over, you know, over 1200 to 1300 horsepower out of this Grand Prix, which will be really nice. And it's just gonna be amazing. It's gonna be so fast, it's gonna accelerate so fast, and we'll just kind of go, what I wanna do is go through the stages. So I wanna go NA and, you know, drag it, road course it, put some times down, and then do turbo, same thing, and then the last version or variant of the Grand Prix and do the same thing and see where we're at, and see if we can go around the road course fast and the drag strip and see just how fast we can get this Grand Prix. I'm pretty excited about this project, and you know, I've been excited about this project, but it's just been a long time waiting for parts. So we have everything we need except for the starter, and I think I'm gonna do the steam vent mod on the engine, and later on I'll have to do a turbo manifold and all that stuff. So we'll just kind of go through the stages, but I'm super excited that it's almost ready to bolt together. So in the next episode, we'll get these things bolted together, bolted in the car. And if you like these videos, make sure to click the subscribe button, thumbs up, throw a comment below. As always, see you guys next time.